Hello and welcome to Transcendental Transformation, the place where spirituality and transformation unite. Host Miss Raina imparts truth so that you can break through your limiting beliefs and evolve into a deeper consciousness. As you go about your day, remember, before every breakthrough, there is a breakdown. And now, let's start the show.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Transcendental Transformation. I'm your host, Miss Raina, and today is Tuesday, October 24th, 2017. We are coming live from the W4CY studios here in West Palm Beach, and I hope everyone had an amazing week so far. This week has been slow for me. Softball was my biggest excitement. Friday, I was playing down on my new team down in Fort Lauderdale, and we lost twice. You know, it's an upper division, highly competitive. There's a lot of runs being scored and everything like that. But it was fun. It was a new competitive team that I went to, and I think I'm going to enjoy this season. Obviously, I'm only going to be with him for one season because I have my own team here at Okehili. But it's nice to meet new people and do different things. On Sunday, though, we had softball again, and we won twice. This is a little bit less competitive league, but it's more for fun and everything. But yeah, it was a good time. We had a good time. We run ruled both teams, and it's always fun when you run rule. It's not as fun when you get run ruled yourself, but it is fun when you get run ruled people. But other than that, all I did was some volunteer work. You know, I worked on one of my neighbors' driveways. I pressure washed their back patio and everything, and then their front driveway. And I enjoy helping. I enjoy volunteering. And how many of you guys actually do that? How many of you guys go out and volunteer? And I don't mean money. Anybody can hand money over. Anybody can just write a check or give $50 or something. That's not volunteer work. How many of you actually try to help others, give back to the community? And what do you do? I want to know what you guys do. So write in, give us a call, web chat us or whatever, because I want to know what you guys do for the community. So next week, we are not going to have a show at all because next week is Samhain, and it's our biggest holiday. Obviously, it falls on the 31st, and you guys know Samhain is Halloween, so a lot of you guys are going to be out trick-or-treating with your kids and everything. So we are going to just have a replay of a show, probably The Age of All Souls Part 1, just so everybody can catch up in case you're missing it. On November 7th, I want you guys to, I'm excited about this show because on November 7th, we are going to have a show about sexual abuse, and this is a very touchy subject. It's very strong. It's one of these subjects that are prevalent in our society, but at the same time, it's hushed. And I want to give voices to 3 people. As of right now, we are going to have 3 wonderful guests: Michelle, Daly, and Alicia. I'm not sure about one of them, but I know 2 are guaranteed. But we're gonna, if we can't have it, we will have 3 guests some way, shape, or form. But it's going to be an amazing show. I'm looking forward to it. So I want to make sure that you guys are excited for it too. I don't think I'm going to be doing any call-ins again today. We will have the web chat up. I have my protege Caleb here with me, and so if you have any questions during the show, visit the W4CY.com website, web chat up, and either I'll respond or he will respond. And make sure you download the W4CY radio app. And as always, we are streaming live from Facebook right now, and we are recording for the YouTube archive. So let's get into tonight's show because we have a lot of stuff that we're going to cover. Today we are going to cover the conclusion of the Age of All Souls. And just to touch base, remember there are 9 categories or 9 domes. And in the first one we talked about the infant souls and the young souls, which make up 5% of the population. And then the next set of domes we talked about was young adult, adult, and elder adult. And that is 90% of the population. The old souls and the elder old souls make up 4% of the population, and tonight we are going to talk about the elder old and the ancient souls, or the blue souls, which make up less than 1% of the population in today's world. So, all these, we have all these different domes, and as we know that, I explained how many times we're going through different lessons through different domes, and, we're going to find out today how they all tie into each other, because, when you get to this, everybody asks me the same thing. Everyone asks me, well, Miss Raina, when the soul evolves to the elder old and ancient old, are we no longer ruled by emotion and ego? And, and it begs the question too, but do we seek the same internal and external factors that we have, that we chase throughout all the other domes? Are we looking for the same ideas? Are we looking for the same lessons? Or do we have the same, types of drives, the same type of faults, the same type of, personalities as we do in other domes? Or do we become these all-knowing beings that we always hear about? Or we become the enlightened ones, the avatars and the things we read about in books? And, the first thing I want to talk about is balance. And, balance is something that everyone strives for, but our definition of balance may be a little off, because we think of balance as something it seems like it would be easy to achieve, and we go, we meditate, we take all these classes, we listen to radio shows, we do all these different things, but what is it about balance that makes it so hard to achieve? And it's hard for any dome to achieve balance, because especially our idea of balance, if I asked you, what do you think balance is, what do most of us think? We think we're happy all the time, nothing bothers us, no, life is grand, there's no, nothing happens in our life. It's just bliss. And that's not the true definition of balance. Balance is taking life lessons and be able to find not only the lessons in it, but understand and come to an understanding of that lesson without allowing our emotions to destroy us. And so a lot of times that we have this concept that we have to be at peace. We have to be like, oh, kumbaya all the time, and in the meditative mind frame in order to achieve this balance. But that's going to create so much chaos in our life. And, a lot of the domes are always, when you get into the adult domes is when you start chasing this idea of balance. Before that, we're not really looking for it. But we have this idea that I need to be happy all the time, and I need to be okay with my emotions all the time in order for me to achieve this idea. But, how many of you would know what balance is if you had it? We don't know, and we don't, and we gauge our lives based on whether or not we're happy, whether or not we have money coming in, whether or not we have relationships and all these different things. But the next two domes is all about learning balance. The elder old and the ancients are all about learning this idea of balance, because balance, like I said, is very hard. But to achieve balance, to achieve the idea of balance of what we think it is, or actually what the truth of it is we must go through all of our emotions of the past. That sounds tough, right? That sounds chaotic. It sounds like a lot of work. And let me tell you something, when you get into these two domes, or these three domes, the elder, old, and the ancient, and remember, the ancient splits into two separate domes, you have to be able to go through all the emotions of the past, and you actually relive a lot of the stuff. You go through each life to understand every lesson, and you'll keep bouncing back and forth, until you come to an understanding of what it is that's going on. And for a lot of people, this is tough. I know people that have entered my program that think that, Miss Raina's going to wave a magic wand or something, and fairy dust is going to come out and everything's going to be all right. But that's not how life is. That's not how we learn. And, a lot of people ask me, well, how do you truly get over something, Miss Raina? How do we get over someone that's, hurt us in such a way or someone that's wronged us or anything like that? Well, of course, you already heard me use one of my no-no words, wrong. Well, that will cause emotional chaos right away. And when you get to the ancient soul level, we realize that there is no such thing as good, bad, right or wrong, positive, negative, backwards, forwards, better, worse. And we realize that these concepts are limitation. And so when you're looking at somebody that did you wrong or somebody that hurt you, the first thing you have to do is go to understand it. You have to revisit that idea to understand what it is you're doing and why they hurt you and how. And you know what? It's amazing how many people become angry at somebody because they're fueled by that idea of right and wrong. And through these domes, especially in the first 4 domes, I mean, you are fueled by passion and anger and emotion and raw emotion. And so you look at things in a judgmental way as far as that. But when you start becoming into the old souls, that's why the old souls are, become very emotional, because we're starting to understand that I have to look at things. I actually have to face things in order for me to evolve. And a lot of us, we don't want to do that. I mean, if I asked you how many things in your minds of using right or wrong, how many times in the last maybe month or 2 months, how many times have you done something wrong? A lot of us would say, maybe once or twice. Not many of us would actually count all the little things we do. All the times we may not tell the cashier about the money, or we let this slip by, or we did a little white lie here, or we did all these things because we don't want to face our truth. Well, let me tell you something. When you get into the elder old, it's going to be in your face. It's one of those things that you have to start learning from the elder old. Well, actually since the old soul, but really when the elder old and the ancient souls, they have to, everything is in your face and everything is confronted head on with truth. It is tough. It is challenging, but at the same time, it gives you what you're looking for because it gives you a sense of self. But you have to allow yourself to go through each of the lessons. And this is why I saved the last 2 domes, or this is why the last 2 domes are where they are at. Because, when we're going through, remember when I first told you in the other 2 that, the age of all souls is circular. It is not on a linear thing. It's not on a hierarchy. It's not you're better than someone if you're an old soul and someone else is an adult soul. You're not higher than them. You're not, and that it's just where you're placing. And you will go back and revisit all of the domes, especially when you get into here. So let's look at the elder souls, because the elder souls, they start to seek something. Their idea of their lessons is to seek very deep understanding of life. They are all about wisdom. It is all about wisdom for them. They want to know. They want to know everything and anything, and they are so consumed with the idea of gaining knowledge. And there are people in other domes that are like that too. But these people, it's live, breathe, and eat wisdom, and they start to disconnect from the real world. Their idea of reality sometimes becomes disconnected because they're living in their head. They're living in their heart and their head all the time, and they're trying to gain this knowledge because the elder old thirst for it. You finally got to a point in your evolution where you're just like, you're not so much controlled by all your emotions anymore. Remember, the old soul goes through all that depression, all that suffering, all that remorse, because all of a sudden they realize, oh my God, I've done some stuff in my past and things have been done to me, and all that stuff is reliving. Well, once you graduate and you move on to the elder old souls, you start to gain the wisdom because you really say, okay, well, what is it that I need to learn from this situation? Now I'm realizing that there's no such thing, and they still don't get the concept of my no words yet. It's not until the ancient souls was when my no words is really hit you in the head. But so they go after it. So when they disconnect from the world, it's connection to people. Sometimes they become sometimes disconnected. They are to be a little different, and so they can't connect. They don't understand because they don't understand others. They don't allow themselves to become, and they see problems in the world because now they're starting to see things clearly. They're disconnecting from all the drama. They're disconnecting from the people, and a lot of times they push back from it because it's not as interesting anymore. As I said before in the other domes, we have these domes. Like in the adults and the younger adult and the adult, they love drama. They're stuck in their belief systems. They will not bend. They will not listen. And even if they know you're telling the truth on something and you prove it to them, they will still deny it. Well, that doesn't interest you anymore. When you start to become into the elder old, it just doesn't. It's just like, I don't care about this. What is it in my life that's going to create change? What is it that in my life what can I learn that's going to allow me to grow, that's going to allow me to understand not only myself but others? And people's drama and issues just don't do it. They've lived through too much. If you look at, let's take ages. When you get to be 50, 60, 70 years old, do you care about the drama that happens with 20-year-olds or teenagers? No, it's silly. You laugh at it, right? And you're like, that's being young. They're just being young and dumb, and you just brush it off. You don't care. This is the exact same concept. This is the exact same idea that it happens when you become an elder old soul. You feel like you don't have time for it. And this carries through the elder soul into the ancient souls as well. And patience seems to be one of the biggest issues here. They have they just don't, the old soul is impatient as well, but the elder old soul is impatient in a different way because they don't want to be bothered. If it's not going to educate them, if it's not going to allow them to grow in any ways, well, then they don't have time for it because they want wisdom. They want the understanding. They want it now. They need to know everything right now. And this is the fault. This is what tricks up some of the elder old, is that they falter back in that need of the old soul or the elder adults, is that gimme. They need that right now. It's like a rush in order for them to do it, especially when they're young. When we're young, we all have characteristics of many of the domes. And so a lot of times you can sit there, and when we age and we grow, any person can have many of these characteristics. And remember, I'm only brushing over a little bit of the domes. It goes so deep down the rabbit hole that, it would take me maybe 3 books in order to explain a bunch of it. And, so a lot of times we'll find characteristics. We'll be like, oh, well, I'm like that now. Am I an elder, old, or am I an adult? Am I this? Because you can kind of have characteristics of anything. But this is like a lifelong obsession. This is something where, they thirst of it. If they don't get the wisdom, if they don't get the knowledge, it almost like destroys them. It almost, they lose sleep over it. Their habits, their dating, everything will fall apart. You have to know with elder olds, you have to learn that form of patience. It has to be. Patience is hard. Patience is hard for even ancient souls because we have the same mindset. It carries over, and you have to relearn those patience every day because, our world can be, when you disconnect from the drama and you see how senseless a lot of the chaos that we create in our life, it becomes a little bit aggravating, but at the same time, it becomes disheartening. And when you're trying to connect to somebody, a group, if you have 4.7 million people, or how many people are in here? 7.4 million? 7.4 million? So if you have 7.4 million people and 90% of that or 95% of that just doesn't care, it can be a very lonely world. And a lot of times this is something that elder olds suffer with. When you become and you start to feel that disconnection, remember last week, as I said, you start to feel that disconnection, with the people in the old souls. We'll be right back after these messages from the Life of Raina.
A message from the Life of Raina. We live in a world faced with many tough challenges. Our lives become chaotic and filled with disaster ever so quickly, most of the time before we even realize. Our issues beat down our mental mindset, and an imbalance of emotions become prevalent. The Life of Raina is dedicated to helping people on the deepest spiritual level. Miss Raina, the creator of Transcendental Development and Growth, works on your core issues and finds the solutions which allow you to break free from the emotional bondages of life, helping you achieve the life you've always wanted to live. Isn't it time that you lived life for you? Call the Life of Raina, 561-846-2190, and schedule your appointment today. That's 561-846-2190. Or email thelifeofraina@icloud.com.
Okay, everybody, we are back. You are listening to Miss Raina on Transcendental Transformation Radio Show. We are doing the Age of All Souls Part 3. This is the conclusion of the final couple domes. And as before we went to break, we were talking about the Elder Old Souls, one of the third to last dome. And we were talking about how they need to develop patience. They need to develop an understanding of people that don't understand them. They have to learn to develop the patience of that, because they're so involved in wisdom that they almost are dismissive sometimes. They can come across as maybe, especially when they're young, they can come across as maybe as they're taken as brash or arrogant, because they're consumed with knowledge. And as I said, if you're not teaching them something, or you're not learning something, or it's not an in-depth conversation, they're going to kind of give you this look and attitude like, okay, just walk away, or leave me alone. It's very important for the elder olds to develop this. Remember that time is not running out. It's not running out. The old souls feel like the time is running out. The elder adults a little bit once you start to transition, but the elder olds all feel like that, and with the old souls too. But knowledge is not, it's not lost. I don't care what happens here in the world. I don't care what happens, in anything else. Our souls always retain all information. And this is something that we lose sight at a little bit in the elder old, because we're so consumed with gaining this that sometimes we feel like we don't have enough time in the world. We just want to consume as much as we can. And you have to learn that our vibration of the soul carries all that information. That's why I told you even before, how many times do you run into somebody and you're like, I know you, and you've never met them, or you've been someplace and you remember that, or deja vu they call it. That's because the soul is carrying information from past lives, past experiences into your current. And all you have to do, if you want the knowledge of the universe, all you have to do is quiet down and raise your vibration. And remember that the knowledge isn't out here, but it's inside. And that's a trick that the elder olds have to learn, because from old soul down, you're chasing outside. Everything's external. You're always chasing a book, or what somebody else tells you, what the TV tells you, what this person told you, what you grew up with. You're always chasing everything else to find your happiness, to find your balance, or to find anything, your relationships, whatever. And this is the part in your journey where you have to start truly looking inward. Even if you want to make your job easier, and you're an old soul or an elder adult, I would suggest right now that you start learning to look inward for answers, rather than, it will make your journey so much more smoother than when you get there, because it will turn that chaos into a much smoother plane. But one of the things that the elder olds struggle with is that love. They elder olds do love. The souls do love very much. When you get to elder old and ancient olds, your love is so deep, but it can be a challenge for them, because they're always in their head. And I know a bunch of old souls that are in their head as well, but they have to learn to combine the two. They have to learn to slow down. They have to learn to do this. And I'm telling you, if you ever date, if you ever run into, if you're an old soul or below, especially an adult or a young adult, and you are insecure, and that you will not be able to handle as someone who's an elder, older, an ancient soul, because at this point we are very confident. We know who we are, and it's not a confidence of cockiness. It's a confidence of surety. We know who we are. We know what we want. We feel like we're too old already to be playing around. And a lot of people may take that as arrogance, or, like I said, brashness or whatever, but it's not. It's just that we've been around the block. We know what we want, and we don't want to waste our time doing it. But we have to remember that also, a relationship means two things. We have to learn to be in a relationship too. And I even as an ancient soul, even as a blue, I falter with that still, because I love my space. I love where I'm at. My best friends, besides Caleb over here, are my guides that I talk to, and I have conversations with them all. And so we sometimes become detached from our relationships. It's almost like they feel like we don't need them. And truth be told, we don't. But but that doesn't mean that you don't have a place for us in your life. That doesn't mean that we don't want you there. There's a big difference between needing somebody and wanting somebody there. And this is something that both you guys have to understand if you're in a relationship. Is that you have to understand that just because they don't need you, that doesn't mean they don't want you. To want you rather than need you is so much better for you than to need, because usually we need somebody because we're insecure. We feel like we're running out of time. We're not going to be loved, or we're not going to get the things that, and we need this relationship in order to be happy. I would much rather have someone be all together, have at least most of their life challenges and all their drama, and actually want to be with me than need to be with me. And that's the way I approach all my relationships too. And elder olds, you need to be able to do this. And like I said, if you're insecure and you run into somebody like this and they're confident and they know who they are, this is going to be this relationship is not going to work. And I'm telling you right now, because I've even been in those relationships where I've tried to date domes that are, you know, a few steps away, and the insecurities just get too much. We become very short patient. Elder olds and ancient souls become very short patient when you've already told them, hey, this is how I feel, this is what we're doing, and it still falls apart because they have things that they've yet to heal from. And we like our space. Elder olds, ancients, we like our space. We like to travel a lot. We like to do our thing. And we're always in search of, the quest of to be in search, it's never goes away. It's always great and wonderful to learn something new. And I'm going to tell you right now, even as old as I am, I still love the knowledge. I don't want to know everything when I come here. I don't know everything. I don't want to know everything because it takes the spice out of life. I know what I know because it's my job to do what I do. But other than that, I love learning. I love someone else being, good at something and then teaching me. Like Chad over here, he's amazing at what he does, and he shows me things and I start learning things. So, how would that be if we had that type of mentality where you're an elder, old, or ancient soul, either white or blue, and you know everything? And that's the difference between someone who's really old and someone who's pretending to be old, because whether you think you know it all or not, that tells you. And I'm telling you, if you, sometimes the information, when we want to tell people that we know everything, it's because, like I said, we're looking for something, but we're trying to prove something to us. And as I said last week, that's the adults. That's the elder olds. Those are the people that are trying to prove something. They need to prove to you that they know knowledge because that gives them status. When you become elder old, it doesn't matter anymore. You consume yourself with wisdom. When you become ancient white or ancient blue, it doesn't matter anymore. You don't care how people think of you. You don't care what I know. What I teach is the truth. And you know what? There are going to be a lot of people that don't agree with it. There are going to be a lot of people that say, oh, well, that's Miss Raina's opinion. But that's the difference between the old souls or the ancient olds, is we know because our information comes from there. And it doesn't come from a book. This stuff never came from a book. You can't find this anywhere, what I'm teaching you. And that's why I know it's true. So you have to be able to understand that when you're in an elder old. You have to learn to start adjusting and start backing away from that. And that's why you search for wisdom. Your biggest challenges, as I said, are relating to others. Your compassion. You must learn compassion. Our world is so out of compassion. It has so little compassion, it's not even funny. We don't have compassion, especially in the United States. We make fun of people. We rip on each other. We put each other down. We're always trying to outdo each other. And the hardest thing is how do you have compassion for somebody that's hurt you or done something or murdered someone? This is where you must start learning how to build compassion. And especially in the ancient souls, an ancient soul of white and blue, you must learn that compassion. You have to be able to have compassion towards anybody, no matter what happens. No matter what they do, what they say, you must look at everybody with compassion. Even if someone's saying something right to your face. Hey, I've been doing this for a long time, and you think everybody says, hey, Miss Raina, oh, wait, great show today. Blah. No, it doesn't happen. And some days are, you get more flack than others. But that's okay, because I understand where they're at. I understand why they feel like that. I understand why they feel threatened by a difference of ideas. because they hold themselves to this, and you must learn that. You must learn compassion. You must learn to have time for others. You must learn to be involved in others, and as I said, I falter with that too. I went through a period where my friends are like, Miss Raina, we haven't talked to you in 3 months, 4 months. And I'm like, really? It's been that long? And they're like, and I was like, I just talked to you last week. No, it hasn't. Look at the phone. Here's the last time. And it was like 3 months, because, we get caught up in our mission, and especially with that. So, we do care. Elder olds and ancient souls do care. We do. We care in life. We want to care. And that's the reason why we need the deep connection. We need to be able to make us feel something. If we don't feel something in any type of relationship, friendship, any form, it doesn't have to be romantic, even in work. The reason why I am so passionate about what I do is because it makes me feel something. It makes me feel my resonance of my soul. Not because I want people believe in one thing or another, or not believe in this or that, because truth resonates with the ancient olds. And so we must learn to do that. So let's get on to the ancient souls, because the ancient souls, we got about 20 minutes left, and the ancient souls are the same way. The ancient souls, I've kind of crossed them over a little bit, but we break down into 2 domes. We break down into the white ancients and the blue ancients. I'm going to kind of overlay both of them a little bit. I'll tell you some separations from time to time, but like I said, there's just so much information in this in all this stuff that it's impossible to cover it all. But yeah, so it's like, we ancient souls, when you first enter the white part of the ancient white dome, we must, like I said, we must relearn all of our experience. So we must re-experience everything that has happened in past lives. And this can be tedious. This can be treacherous. This can be very hard for the soul. When I was young, and even still today, sometimes I tap out. I'm like, okay, guys, I'm tough. I have big shoulders, but hey, sometimes I need a break too, because the lessons keep coming. There is no break. There is one lesson after another, and you have to learn to tie in each of those lessons to come up with a greater answer. You must learn to understand and re-experience those things, so that, I have gone over lessons that, not just in this lifetime alone, I have re-experienced so many times different lessons, so that I can come to a different understanding. And then when someone's about to enter my life that I need to help or whatever, I go through that lesson again, so that I can re-experience it, so I can understand what they're going through, so I know what it feels like when it's fresh. I have to be able to do that. You have to be able to understand something. And this is why, how many of us try to help somebody that we don't understand? And all of us do. I go on social media, and how many times do you see somebody say something and everybody's offering medical advice and healthy food advice and everything, but none of them have ever gone to school for it. And so you can't understand. You may have, just because you Google stuff, that doesn't mean you have knowledge. And so you have to be able to understand, that type of mentality. You have to go back to truly understand it, because in the white dome, you must learn and experience from the lessons. When you get to the blue domes, you're going to learn, but you have to be tested on those. So you will re-go over something, and then you'll be tested on it to see how well you know it, and then you will teach it. And you cannot be a teacher unless you have experienced this. And this is something that the ancient souls must understand. If you are going to be a light in this world, if you are going to be the example that people follow or whatever, if you are going to be that soul, if you're placed there, then you must understand what others go through. You must understand what you go through. You must understand the limitations of people, their minds, their hearts, their will, everything. You have to understand that. And if you're rejecting yourself, if you're rejecting the idea, if you can't come face to face with yourself and say, hey, you know what? Yeah, I made a mistake here. What did I learn from it? Yeah, I wasn't the most pleasant. Yeah, blah, blah. And, you go on. If you don't understand that stuff and you push that away, then you're never going to move through this dome. but at this point, you're already kind of dealing with that with the old souls. The old souls, they're already emotional chaos because of that. Because they're like, oh my God, I can't believe I actually, had several lives that I've murdered somebody, or I've actually been murdered myself, or this has happened, and I've been a big thief, and I ripped off all these people, and so we like to think of ourselves as how we are now. And everybody likes to think of ourselves as good people, but we don't realize, and this is something you realize in the ancient soul, and you don't look at it with judgment, but we've all done it. We've all done all these experiences. And so, we all just take turns. We all will have lives where we will be murdered. We all have lives that we murder people. We all have lives that, we've been raped or the raper or whatever. That we're the thief and we're the good person. We're the nice person. We're the family person. We're the cheater. We have all these different lives. And you have to realize that that's just a character. You just have to realize that none of what you do really makes you who you are. It doesn't matter each life. It's to progress. It's to come to the understanding of the vibration that you're at. And so you have to learn that in the white domes. You have to go through the emotional and spiritual turmoil. You have to constantly challenge yourself, and it will constantly challenge yourself. I mean, I've even told Caleb, there's been days where I'm just like, oh, I get grumpy sometimes when I'm at my boiling point sometimes, and I'm just like, okay, I just need a break of a week. I even say to everybody, look, everybody, I'm disappearing for a weekend because I need to recharge, and that because the lessons keep coming after me. People have a hard time with us. When you become an ancient soul, people have a hard time with us. We are the most judged, we are the most hated, and the most misunderstood out of all the domes. And why? Is because our energy is strong. When we walk into a room, the room knows it. When we say something, people know it. When we have a presence about us, we know it. There is no mistaking who we are. And why? Because it's taken us 10,000, 20,000 lifetimes to get here. And I think after that many lifetimes, wouldn't you know who you are too? And so you do. And people in the younger domes can't understand that. They may be envious. They may be afraid of you. I've had people come up and say, Miss Raina, I don't know why, but you just intimidate me. Even if I'm smiling at them. And even Caleb and I were joking around about something before we got here about, it was, but that's true. And, I am one of the nicest people. I'm not perfect. I'm not, I get grumpy too and everything, but, I'll always be honest with you. I'll always be true. And a lot of people don't see that because they see and feel the energy behind it. When you have somebody that knows who they are and knows what they want and you don't, that's intimidating. But I'm telling you, if you're a younger soul, if you're one of those elder or old soul or adult souls and stuff, don't be intimidated by anybody with a strong personality. They, a lot of times they will be the most greatest friend you'll ever have. You just have to understand that they're not like everybody else. They're not going to deal with all the drama and all the chaos that the rest of the world is. But you will have one of the most honest friends. From old soul, elder, old, and ancient. A lot of times, old soul might falter from time to time, but you will have honest friends. These are the people that value, honesty, loyalty. And what do I talk about on my show all the time? Honesty, loyalty, respect, truth, all the time, because those are my values. That is what I place in numero uno. And that's where I go with it. And I will always be that because it is who I am. It is what my soul resonates at. I don't want to do that, and neither will the ancient souls. Ancient souls will do that. But you have to understand what the world is about. When you finally get to that point, you understand that. And if you don't understand, then you have to get to that point. And what the greatest point about that is? We want to share it with the world. We want to share our information with you because it's just like, have you ever had the grandma or the grandpa that tells you all the stories and it backs down and they just go on and on about telling you stories because they want to share that knowledge. Why? Because they have something that they know that can transform your life. But what do we do when we're young? we don't listen to them, right? We're like, yeah, whatever, let's go out and play. And they're just old people just talking to us, right? It's the same thing here. Ancient souls, it doesn't matter how old you are, when you're young or when you're old or middle-aged, people won't listen to you no matter what, because they're too busy knowing everything. They're too busy that. And we don't want to push, the goal of my show is not to push my way on you. It's the information. You will do whatever you want to, however you want to. You could throw it in the garbage, you could use it, you could transform it, you can do whatever you want. But you know what? I enjoy sharing the knowledge of all my past lives. I enjoy sharing the knowledge of a spirit guide. I enjoy sharing the knowledge of what got me to the place where I'm at. And you know what? If you have all this pain and suffering and you're always looking for, why don't you listen to people that have gone through it and don't have it anymore? I mean, obviously you're not going to listen to someone who's a complete mess, but why do you guys ignore the people that have got to the goal? It doesn't make sense, does it? But you can't get caught up in this, people. Ancient souls, and I'm probably, don't know how many I'm talking to here, but you can't get caught up in that. That's one of the biggest downfalls to the ancient souls, especially when you're in the white part, is, you realize that everything I say, everything I do falls on deaf ears. And that hurts. Why? Because we care so much. We care so deeply that I'm telling you, this is my life. Every waking second, every dream, every time I'm doing this, it is constantly being of who I am. And you can call it an obsession, you can call it whatever you want, but this is something that resonates with me and resonates with all ancient souls. You live it, breathe it, eat it every single day. And yes, when people, good people, even my friends, I watch them sometimes destroy themselves. And they know what I do, and yet they don't ask. And that's okay. Doesn't mean I'm not going to stop being friends with them. Doesn't mean anything. But they have to come to me, or whoever. They have to go to wherever they need to go when they're ready. And so one of my rules is I never push anything. If someone doesn't come to me and ask for me, and this is one of the things in business that I've always had a hard time. Everyone's like, you got to go out there and you got to go after people and that. And I'm like, no, because I am not going to go after people that aren't ready. Because a lot of people will tell you that they're ready. They want the help. They want to, change their diet. They want to get healthy. They want to be spiritual. They want to do all these things. But it's not. It's just that they know they need to do it, but they're not willing to change. They're not willing to do the work. They're not willing to do what it is. And so if you don't recognize this, you get caught up in this. If you allow the insecurities and the chaos, when you're the white part of the ancient souls, if you allow that, you are going to crumble. It's going to make you crumble. It will destroy you. It will bring you to your knees. And this is where sometimes you lose control of your energy. Energy with us is huge. Like I said, we are strong. We have a vibrant energy that we're there. And if you lose control of that, it becomes a chaos. It will become so destructive. So you will be consumed by everything in your life. It will just bring you down. And as you guys know, I've dealt with depression in the past. Probably won't be the last time I've ever dealt with it. But we can turn that way too because we care so much, and it's a letdown. But we have to still learn, because we're human, so we have the human emotions. We have to learn to not let it turn us. And what does it turn us against? Our mission. Because sometimes when you are an ancient white, when you're an ancient blue, sometimes it'll happen too. But when you're an ancient white, sometimes you will become bitter and angry at the world, because the world seems to slap you in the face. It's like being the president of a company and nobody listening to you, and you're just like, what the heck? I'm the president. Listen to me. And it's almost like that attitude, and you will reject your mission. When I was younger, I became angry because of the pressure I felt. I would talk to Lori, Makrana, Silviana, Luciana, my core four, and they would constantly be, and I just felt so much pressure, and because of that, And then when I tried to go out there and talk to people and everyone dismissed me because of my age or my gender or this or that, it was just constantly, this happened. And so then you have to learn to regroup. You have to learn, the idea behind it. And what's that old phrase? With great power becomes great responsibility, right? If I even said that right. But it holds true. It really holds true for the ancient souls, because you have the power. You have the power unlike other people. Because that's strength. It's not that you're more, you have a better sense of who you are, so you have more control over your energy. You're able to understand the universe in ways that other people don't, so you can manipulate energy the way you need to. We can transform our lives into anything we want. And out of all the domes, even though all ancients, from ancient all the way down to infant souls, we all have spiritual contracts. We have the least contracts. We have the least spiritual contracts with things. We will still have contracts with people and jobs and stuff like that. But a lot of our lives, we have free range. And this is something that we don't, a lot of times, especially when you're in the white, you don't understand. And you will create the chaos, and you will find that the moment you get angry, all of a sudden all this chaos comes in. And then if you let go, it all frees up, and it feels like a roller coaster. You're like, I don't understand. Why does my life keep going up and down like I'm on a roller coaster? It's because you have that energy and you have that free will to be able to do because you have earned the right to have more free will. When you're younger, it's like children. It's like you have parents. That's what guides are for. They're to guide you. They're not there to run your life, but they're to guide you through your life. And you need that guidance and those contracts in order for you to learn, because you don't understand. If an infant soul or an adult or something had the power of an ancient soul, whether it's white or blue, and they realize that and they turn destructive, oh my God, it would be very dangerous. It would be very dangerous. But you have to be able to understand that. We are driven by deep mission. We have to, we like to get right to the point. As I said, it consumes us because we are mission orientated. We don't have time for games. Like I said, even with Caleb today, again, we were talking, and I was like, no, I don't like when people do, if you say something, you have to do this, I expect it done. This. If I say something, this is going to be done. And we have that goal. We have that thing. We are big time loners. We love to be by ourselves. We love our space. We love our privacy, just like the elder old. Our best friends are our guides. I love my guides. I love working with them because, I know they're truthful with me. I know that they understand me. Even other people that are here, even if they're old, sometimes they don't understand themselves, and they can be, but I always know that my guides have my back. I always know that they're truthful with me, no matter how hard they are with me. And sometimes they're very bluntly hard on me, especially if I'm being stubborn or, and if I'm caught up in ego or something like that, but they're always there, and they're always truthful. So, we appreciate that. We love that. We love truth. We love honesty. We appreciate the beauty in everything. How many of you can go outside, no matter what kind of day you're having, and just see beauty in everything? Every single day, I wake up and ancient souls wake up, and you start to learn this in elder old, even in old souls. But every day you start to wait. I mean, it's amazing. I can even in here this energy right now, whether people like it or not. It's just amazing. You're around great people, and you have all these different things, and no matter what happens in life, you can appreciate it. You can see the beauty in life. You can see the beauty in people. You can see the beauty in nature, and it's just an amazing feeling. And the last thing I want to say is, a lot of times, these are known as the wise ones, like the Dalai Lamas and people of the world that just seem to have the universal knowledge. They are the wise ones. And why? Because they've earned it. They've gone through it. They've gone through life. They've gone through several of them. They have the knowledge. They have the capability, especially in ancient blue. You have the capability to tap into all the knowledge you want. Anything you want. You can just pull it at random, and sometimes you don't even know when you're pulling it, but you'll have a conversation and it'll just come out. because you have that type of thing. You have that type of knowledge. You know how to access the Akashic records. You know how to, you can access that back and forth with ease. It is something that, you know, it's an amazing thing. I know a lot of people, especially in the spiritual side of things, a lot of people are always looking for those records. A lot of people are always looking for the universal knowledge or everything, but, you know, it can be accessed, but you have to learn how to access it. You have to, and we have mastered it. We have realized that all of this stuff, all this ego, all of the pain and suffering, all the emotions, all the belief systems keeps you from your goals. And that's why they're known as wise ones. That's why you see them in different countries and these people just seem to have that knowledge. It's because they have attained that knowledge through their trials and tribulation. But you will not understand that until you go and face yourself. Truth is the most healing thing in the world, people. And no matter how much you want to deny it, no matter what you want to do, you know, you have to be able to find truth, because truth will bring us balance and compassion. All right, everyone, that's tonight's show. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to follow us on our Facebook at facebook.com/Transcendental Transformation Radio Show. Visit my website, soulandspiritguide.com. Email us with your questions at transcendentaltransformations@gmail.com. Make sure you visit the w4cy.com website. And always remember to believe in yourself. And it's not our abilities or our talents that make us who we are, but it is our choices. Thank you and have a wonderful day.